Alright, so for this for this development goal, it is the fifth development goal, environmental sustainability, and we're going to start by going to my parents' house. And so we're first going to go to my parents' house. Now, I live in Gilbert, Arizona, once again, and the environment looks great. There's trees, rocks,
this is where I'm
beautiful
from.
surroundings.
This is Gilbert,
Arizona. It looks like completely a great neighborhood
this is
with
my
good
house.
environment surroundings.
It looks like a normal neighborhood.
Now, we're going to go over to the Marshall Islands.
That. We don't have very many diseases.
For the people of
the
Marshall Islands
right now,
we have the oceans and the islands are a big part of their life and very important.
Of the mosquitoes.
And you travel from
diseases,
small boats or canoes to get the fruits of the ocean and
just some
the islands that you need to live off of.
And
there's 29 atolls with, you can tell it's a beautiful ocean and green
completely
sea, which is
in
known
between
in
Australia and Hawaii, called the Marshall Islands.
I'm going to start off with a little bit of background. And
the Marshall Islands is...
So my house is on this side of the island, and there's some background, and the islanders have experienced suffering, but they had a very complex past.
This is my house.
Now, there's a thing called the Japanese Memorial Beach Park.
It's on the very island,
and
probably
1885,
maybe a couple hundred feet
came
from
the U.S. rule. In the last days of the war,
from the water,
Japanese forces and many islanders
it looks nice,
came under fire and died.
I mean, it looks nice. It's a good neighborhood.
There are Japanese
military
airplanes,
but
this is one
from what I have been researching and looking about.
Blocks they have to represent all the peace
well vaccinated
in island that there was before.
The diseases in the Marshall Islands are basically hepatitis A and typhoid.
In the mid-1900s, there were 67 nuclear tests conducted on these atolls.
These diseases,
and the Bravo hydrogen bomb test caused volumes of radioactive fallout on the
wherever
islands,
you stay,
which caused very many environmental pollution, which we'll look at in a little bit.
Is just contaminated.
The effects of these have been placed for over 500 years, and the victims of these tests try to tell their suffering onto their stories because they're concerned about the health and how safe is the place here. One of the other problems,
if you get these diseases, especially hepatitis A, you can be sent to the Madro Hospital, which is basically right beside my house. I specifically chose this house when I got adopted because I wanted to be extremely close to the hospital.
The survival of the Marshall Islands
something
is
happened
a threat
to me
some of the current issues deal with inadequate supplies of water,
people
pollution,
recommend
and
hepatitis A vaccine
waste
because you
discharges
get this
of
disease
fishing
through
equipment and such.
food or water, regardless of where you're at.
According to non-governmental organizations,
you
in
can get type 2
1997,
from the
there was
same
a
way.
statement in one of the sessions that stated that 80% of the Marshall Islands would be underwater in the 21st century.
And the adventurous eater is a big problem.
Considering there's so many islands, and that 80% of all these islands would be underwater. I mean, if you can just see how this crashes and breaks,
normal people get, but if you get these hepatitis
cement
A
here and
big
just falls over,
diseases,
it's
then,
completely awful.
It's a very big problem. And the other
and
hospital
the islanders
that you
have seen it become more noticeable because the shoreline and the bleaching of the corals
which
is
is
becoming a
completely
problem.
on another island. You
And there's some islanders that are talking about the changes in the environment, saying that corals no longer shine, or you can't even fish in the lagoons anymore. There has been a lot of drought because of the water shortage and the high waves that cause damage to a part of the weather.
That people might face here
And
while
since
traveling.
they're only 2 meters above sea level,
risks may vary different areas.
Let's look at a graph here.
And
the Marshall Islands are vulnerable
in order to
to
come
more
to these
changes
hospitals
in
to get the vaccines,
tide
they can't
changes,
protect you
basically.
from many diseases. So there's certain behaviors and actions you need
Now,
to take.
supposedly, the Marshall Islands are referred to as Jolet Gen Ens, which means gifts from God. In the sense that the Marshall Islands were a God-given safe place away from harshness
there is a limited
is a part of
array
the identity of the people.
that
However,
have
the waves
resulted
and
in
the increasing
diabetes, heart
frequency in the
disease,
tides doesn't
and
give them
other
meaning at all.
diet-related
So now the
diseases
safety
because
of
their
these
food is
islanders
contaminated.
are in jeopardy.
And so you need to
And if
eat
you look
and
at this
drink
graph,
safely.
it's recent sea level rise in the
Prevent
past
bug
about
bites,
30
keep
years or so,
outdoors,
and
keep away
stopped
from
in 2000,
animals,
and these are in
avoid
centimeters,
germs,
where it started
avoid sharing
normally, and within
bodily
20 years it
fluids,
went up
and
20
how
centimeters.
know how to
Now,
get
that might
medical
not seem
care
like a
while
lot,
traveling
but
and choose safe
considering if it keeps
transportation.
going and 80% of this would be underwater, that is a big problem.
Areas that are
The
vector-borne
physical
diseases,
characteristics of the
which
island would give a strong
are,
indicator that
bug
this
bite
government is
diseases.
concerned with sea
And
level
that's
rising.
dengue,
The elevation
which
is barely 6
a
meters
very
tall,
big disease
and you can tell
dealing with
because
bug
this
bites
water is
in
so close
Southeast
to this
Asia and
land.
the Caribbean.
And
so
I mean,
since
everything is
there's a limited
barely
array of
submerged
food, you
anymore,
need
that
to be
nothing
careful
works
in what
anymore.
food you eat and all these different bug bites.
We're just going to go to
Luckily,
another
there's a good
section
amount of children
that
that
has
have gotten
more crashing
immunized
waves and is a
with
big
measles in
problem.
the past 20 years. 90% of immunizations
Now I have a video that I would like to show you guys
Madro Hospital.
about the problem
and
with the crashing
the
waves.
Marshall Islands has a very
If you'd like to
developed
watch it,
public
here we
health
go.
system. And so the two main hospitals
We say to our ancestors, know the first shit done. If we fail to protect our home and all our future children to come, their hope lies in us. This is my ocean, this is my future, my choice. This ocean is my home. This is our ocean, this is our future, our choice.
Being safe in certain areas.
Alright, and to deal with that,
just stay safe and while you eat,
our next topic about how sad
food and water is a
sea
very
level
big
is
problem.
ruining all these houses and destroying the beautiful land of these atolls.
We need to help.
And the next problem is that there is so much dump site on the land and that there are waste collected all over and are supposed to be collected in these large basins, but they're just dumped into the area and dumped into the water that pollutes the land even more, and there's such a strange smell and damage to the health of the inhabitants, which are, this is the next one, and I mean it's so deep, it's so sad to believe that this could actually happen to such a beautiful place. And one of the dump sites for the pollution is over here, and it's just an environmental crisis that's undermining the way that has happened, and it's limiting the resources that they already have to start with. I mean, it's a completely small that they already have like no resources to begin with, and this is one of the piles. I mean, the waves you can just see are crashing up on land, and it's just a big pile that's such a big problem. And there just have been generations of islanders who lived with the self-sufficiency of gathering all these things, but the awful history of being around these powers, there's difficult pressures from beyond their control that they can't control, which some of the things in here are foreign problems of testing and leftover radioactive materials that we talked about from the Japanese bombing. But luckily, the islanders are slowly trying to recover this shattered harmony, and they're trying to save all of it to make it just look like back to where I live. And one of the main roads in Majuro is packed with cars all the time, and there's so many nice things that are here: medical treatment, reasons for opportunity, great education, but unfortunately many of these suffer from the pollution that is controlling this. And so some of the individuals are making an effort in adopting the image of the South Sea Island that tourists demand for and the benefit, who want to find the corals and all the pretty things in these islands. So some people are trying to discover these islands and their sense of community, trying to remember the histories to pass on generation, and they need to know the history that has led to the shattering of these islands. And I think one of the helpful things that they could do in trying to fix this is just go all over the island and create the dump sites and make sure that they're in one area and just try to pack the houses, and hopefully it will help this environmental problem soon.